Hi, my name is Dennis Seary. I am Executive Director and founder of the New York City Independent Film Festival, Independent in Spirit, International at Heart, and this is the New York City Independent Film Festival Meet the Filmmakers podcast. Join us while we meet this year's filmmakers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, today we're
Hi.
here with Sinclair from Bridgekeeper. Welcome to our podcast. Introduce yourself, Sinclair.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name's Sinclair Rankin. I am screening Bridgekeeper, a film that I shot last, I guess, late 2022, finished last year, 2023. This is my third short. I made my first back in 2018. And so I've been a filmmaker, I guess now 6 years. Before that, I was a screenwriter. I would say as far back as 2012. And I've been a writer on and off for most of my life. Screenwriting came a little bit later, and filmmaking came even later than that. What I think changed the dynamic was I was in a writing group, had written a short that I was very excited about, and was encouraged by the people that I was in the group to make it. And I said, I don't know how to make a movie. And some of them who had experience said, no problem, we can help you out. So that was the big start of a learning curve for me. Made the first short, it did very well in festivals, and it was just a great experience and made me want to do more. So that's the probably 1.5 minute version of my career.
That was great. That was great. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
All right. So I guess you also answered what made you want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
My next question, but
Yeah.
and then and what did your friends and family say when you said, "Hi, I'm going to make a movie"?
Well,
What's
they
that
were
reaction?
surprised mostly. I studied to be an architect. That's what I went to college for. I went to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, and that was my career track. And so I think it was a little bit of a curveball for most of my family, but they were very supportive. And this was I am not a young person, so this was a late in life career shift that I was very excited about, and yeah, they were very supportive of it. So that part has been wonderful.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Now, do you have your tribe, your filmmaker tribe, your filmmaker
Yes.
group?
Yes, it's changing all the time. There used to be being made up more of screenwriters and less filmmakers. It involves a little more work to try and meet and stay in touch with filmmakers. And this is one of the wonderful things about festivals, and one of the things I'm of course looking forward to with yours is the real reward is the opportunity to meet other filmmakers, to compare notes, to hopefully form some lasting relationships, because yeah, it's a tough, indie film is a tough business, and it helps a lot to have friends who are sort of familiar with what you're going through, and also trading expertise, cast, crews, I mean, all of it. It's so yeah, it's taken a little while to build up, but I do have a nice group of filmmaker
That's good.
people that cover that. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. And so what made you decide to make this film?
So I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's all set on the Grand Street Bridge, which is an old bridge it's going to be torn down soon. It connects Brooklyn and Queens, and it's about a mile or so from my house. And I rode my bike over it all the time while thinking about other movies ideas. And every time I would ride over it, I'd be like, wow, this is just a magical, it just has such a flavor to it, And at some point I started thinking, well, what if I had something that was shot on this bridge? And then I sort of started to evolve into what would that be? And so it did come out of just being close to it and traveling over it, back and forth over it, and collaborated with a good friend of mine who also acted in my first short. And I just told him straight up, I want to try and make a film on this set on this bridge, but I don't know what it is. And so he and I just sat down and over the course of many months, kind of came up with an idea, and then that's sort of evolved from there.
What was the hardest part about making this film?
Well, as I explained, it's a city bridge, and by far the hardest part was the logistics of actually getting permission to shoot, as well as actually shooting on the bridge. In New York, New York, as you know, probably is very film friendly. You can film in a lot of public spaces on the streets, especially if you're just doing handheld. However, the bridges fall under the Department of Transportation, so I had to get their permission. And as I was doing that, my DP was asking, can we mess with the lighting, the bridge lighting a little bit? And I thought they would never go for that, but they said, that's fine. So we actually modified the lighting. They had people crawling up and down on the bridge, relighting it. That was all super fun. And we were planning on shooting over one night. It gets fairly deserted in that area late, and I was kind of counting on that. But unbeknownst to me, they rerouted traffic that day and
Right.
right over the bridge. There I am with, full crew waiting for it. Was very frustrating. That was tough. So we stretched into 2 nights, unfortunately, but these are the things that happen when you're on location. There's just, some things you can control, some things you can't.
What was the fun part?
Yeah, the fun part. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of fun parts. Maybe the most fun in a way is this is a single character, no dialogue. And what that meant was that, and I talked with my collaborator about this, it was kind of like a silent film. It's not, because it's got score, it's got, atmospheric sounds, but so there was a new challenge we had, which was to try and create a movie that was all about action and sound and not getting any sort of story through dialogue. That was great. That was not a challenge that we had thought of when we first thought of the idea. But as we progressed through it, that became a really super rewarding thing to work on.
Cool. Really?
Yeah.
So in the indie world, we all know we're not going to buy mansions on making these movies. So
Yeah.
what would you consider success? What would you consider success in the indie world?
I think that just by the nature of the fact that you're not, so let's put it this way. I've been making shorts. Shorts are not necessarily generally a product. They're not something that you're going to try and sell someone to make your money back. As a result of that, I think the success really has to be in making it. I mean, this is not a new answer, but this is true nonetheless. There really needs to be being able, and I come at this from a writer's perspective, which is, I am trying to translate script onto the screen.
Mhm.
And my job to myself, and I consider this like sort of job number one, is to be true to what's in my mind as I'm trying to translate it onto screen. If you do that, if I feel I do that, then I've done my job. You know what I mean? And that's, I guess, one definition of success. Getting into festivals, even getting awards, all that stuff is awesome and great. Don't get me wrong, but certainly I think if I were younger, I would probably be more at risk of wanting more of that affirmation to keep going. But I think it's helped me to be breaking into this business a little bit at a later date. So I try to tune that part out. Anything that comes is gravy in that case.
If somebody came to you and said, "Hey, Uncle Sinclair, I want to be a indie filmmaker," and what would you tell them?
I would totally encourage them to go for it. And I would say, and this is something that I've talked a lot about with the people that I, have become friends with over the years. take your ideas out, workshop your ideas, take them out for a spin, pitch it to people that and see, hone the ideas. The only luxury we have is the time we have before we shoot, right? Nobody's paying you. You can get your script tight. You can fully storyboard it if you want. I know people that are totally into that. So I would say two things: take the time and make sure you're really super engaged with the idea, because it's not only going to have to interest you, but you're going to have to get a lot of people to come on board and have it interest them as well. So that would be I think my main point.
Okay. I mean, I'm basically done with the questions. I mean, anything you want to throw in there?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know how excited I am to be a part of your program, and looking forward to the screening, and want to do my part to help get people there and get people excited about it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.